Hey guys, so today I'm going to share with you three stocks that are on my watch list that I may or may not invest in this month. Um, and I'm going to give you some of the insights of how I invest. I'm of the belief that if you hold ETFs or index funds that are invested in major S&P 500 or that are invested mostly in large cap names, right? Like the S&P 500 is in mostly in large cap names. A lot of your most popular ETFs are the main weighting of that is large cap names. So what I do is I have that large cap exposure in an index fund or ETF, and then I like to look at mid cap, small cap stocks that are under the radar a little bit. They might be a little stressed or a little beaten down. They might be turnaround stories. They're a little risky. They're usually in the value category. And value investing is actually, next to penny stocks, is probably the riskiest of them all. But they have rewards because they normally have higher dividend yields, starting dividend yields, and that's usually because their prices have dropped. But you can find value out there, and you just have to evaluate. It takes a lot more research to do deep value investing than it does to buy a 3M or a Coca-Cola or a Johnson & Johnson. You almost don't have to do any research to buy them. You just buy them. But to invest in these three companies I'm going to share with you might take a little bit more nerve, let's say. And I'm gonna list these from less risky to most risky. And let's just get started. So first up, we have Hewlett Packard. And that's ticker symbol HPQ. And Hewlett Packard, they've split. They did a while back. They did a split. So they have their enterprise, which is HPE, and the HPQ is their printer division. The HPE is their big, humongous computer, big business computers, and this is more printers and I believe it's the small desktop type stuff, consumer things. They have a forward PE of 9. I used to work for Hewlett Packard, by the way, back in 1997, I want to say, when laptops were super expensive. Wonderful place to work for, actually. But I was only a temp. I probably should have stayed there. I'd probably still be there today. But anyhow, forward PE of 9, dividend of 3.4%, and they have a 5-year dividend growth rate of 18%. So they've been raising their dividend quite well. They do have $5 billion in debt, but they have $4.5 billion in cash. So they have a very strong balance sheet, lots of cash on hand. Not a lot of their cash pretty much covers their debt, and but their slow growth. That's going to be the issue with Hewlett Packard. Now there is a possibility of a buyout. Xerox, they're trying to stay relevant by buying Hewlett Packard. They put in a bid, but the bid got rejected. So, it's a possibility that you buy now that if Xerox, decides to up their bid, that you can get a pretty good premium, but then you'll own Xerox HP or HP Xerox, whatever that ends up being. and who knows what they're going to do. I don't know the health of Xerox, so I'm only looking at this as Hewlett Packard by itself, and the company's healthy. It has slow growth, pays a good dividend. It's a dividend grower. Basically, zero net debt. They do have debt, but strong balance sheet. So that's Hewlett Packard. Next up, International Paper. That's ticker symbol IP. And International Paper does packaging products, cardboard, paper products, things of that nature. They have a forward PE of 12, decent dividend of 4.5%, with a 5-year growth rate of 7% on that dividend. They do have $10 billion in debt and only about $700 million in cash, but they do generate cash flow to service their debt. So, if you believe that we are going to continue with e-commerce and packaging goods and things of that nature, International Paper might be something to look at here. I put down here naked. And this is interesting because there's a lot of pressure being put on e-commerce and people like Amazon to reduce the number of packaging, reduce the amount of packaging that they create. You got to imagine Amazon gets these boxes in, they unbox them, they put them in their own box, and they ship them to you, and then you end up throwing the box away or whatever. So they're actually pressuring, I don't know who's they, don't ask me who they is, but I read an article where they're thinking about delivering your packages naked. So not in a box. So you order a camera, they'll just come bring the camera to you without putting it in a box. And, if they do that, that would be a big deal to companies like International Paper. And I believe there's another one called WestRock that does the same kind of business. So that's one thing to look out for. If we want to reduce the amount of cardboard and paper we use, if this naked shipping gets implemented, it might hurt these companies. And last but not least, CenturyLink. Now, CenturyLink is telephone, wireline, cable, fiber optic lines. They're kind of an old school telecom company. They have a forward PE of 9, a very healthy dividend of 7.6%, but they have a negative 14% growth in their dividend because they did cut their dividend last year. But it's still at 7.6%. Now, they do have a lot of debt, $37 billion in debt, $1.4 billion in cash. And I put on here management. Now, in the last year, CenturyLink, after they cut the dividend, they've fulfilled their promises of what they were going to do with cutting the dividend. So they've started reducing debt, started refinancing debt at lower rates. So I like that they've acted upon and they've done what they said they were going to do. And that gives me a little confidence in CenturyLink. They are a cash cow. It's like AT&T. AT&T has $200 billion in debt, and they are a cash cow, and it's still a healthy investment. And I see that with CenturyLink a little bit. Difference is AT&T's in more entertainment and things like that, where CenturyLink is still kind of old school telecom. But that's the key, management. Can management continue to do what they say they're going to do? If they if they are successful, like I think they've done very well in 2019, refinancing debt, paying down some debt, and doing some good things. So if they can keep that up going forward, CenturyLink right down here in the 12s might be a good time to pick some up. But that's all I have. If you have any questions, let me know. That was the mind of GW Life Investing, how he thinks. And I am not invested in any of these. You know me. If you know me, you know I like my high yield. I'm probably going to keep my biggest eye on CenturyLink. And we'll see. Anyway, leave me your thoughts down below. Thoughts, questions, please like, share, subscribe, do all that. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.